In the 1800s, as Asian people migrated to the United States, many Asian people moved to the West Coast. As you can see, if you're crossing water from Asia, it's easier to get to the West Coast of the United States. If you are crossing from Europe or Africa, you might go to the East Coast. One person who was born in China but immigrated to the United States was Wong Chin Foo. Since so many Asian immigrants stayed in the West, Wong was one of the first well known Chinese immigrants in the eastern United States. So you might be asking yourself, who was Wong Chin Foo? Wong Chin Foo was born in Shandong province in China. He first came to the United States in 1867 and went to college in Washington, D.C. He went back to China for some time, but in 1873 he returned to the United States. He traveled around the East Coast, giving speeches about China and Chinese culture. It was many people's first time seeing a Chinese person. One reason he taught people about China and Chinese culture was that he found discrimination against immigrants like him. People who lived in the United States and had a hard time finding a job discriminated against new immigrants. They believed the new immigrants would take the jobs they wanted. Wong believed the more others knew about Chinese people, the more Chinese people would be accepted. In 1883 in New York City, Wong created the first Chinese language newspaper in the eastern United States. It was called the Chinese American. This was the first commonly known use of the term Chinese American. He believed people from China who came to the United States should have the ability to become full United States citizens with the same rights as any other citizens. Wong Chin Foo did more than write articles specifically for Chinese Americans. Wong also wrote articles in English newspapers to teach people about Chinese customs, like traditional religious beliefs and Chinese food. He would travel to different places to teach others about Chinese culture. Other reporters from New York and across the United States would ask him his thoughts on important events happening in China. Wong Chin Foo had become a United States citizen in 1874 and took the responsibility seriously. Wong made the USA's first Association of Chinese American Voters in 1884, 10 years after he became a citizen. Before the 1860s, the Chinese population in New York was very small, but more Chinese American migrants started coming to New York. By 1890, New York had a Chinatown neighborhood. As there became more and more Chinese American citizens, Wong Chin Foo founded the Chinese Equal Rights League in 1892 to organize other Chinese Americans to speak up for the Chinese community. He said that Chinese Americans deserved equal rights and treatment. At that time, the United States was making laws to make it harder for Chinese people to immigrate to the United States. The Chinese Equal Rights League went to the government to fight against this unfair law. Wong Chin Foo's activism and strong voice standing up for Chinese Americans has made him an important person to remember in the history of America.